At this time, I'd like to introduce Tony Lamantia. He's the President and CEO of the Waterloo Economic Development Corporation to formally introduce our speaker. Tony.
All right, many thanks, esteemed brother Ian. I love the vibe in this room. I don't think I've experienced this much energy at the Gulf Steakhouse ever. I don't know. It's we're indeed pleased to be sponsoring this economic development series. This is the second one we've done. The first one was on talent, you might recall, with Julie Barker-Mers from BMO, and this one is on scaling companies, rapidly scaling companies. If you think about those two phenomena, talent and scaling, they're kind of the two sides of the same coin. Really hard to attract talent unless you're a scaling company, but how do you scale unless you've got the talent to do it? So really pleased about being able to do this today, and of course, to be able to scale successfully. And I spent about 6 years with a company that grew from 5 million to 100 million, and was telling our guest speaker that it's probably the most fun I've ever had in any job, right? Ever, right? You make friends for life. I have brothers and sisters in Redwood City that have been through the trenches, and I think that a company that wants to scale really requires a growth mindset, access to talent, but more important than all of it, like a fierce commitment to getting it done. And when I think about scaling companies, I can't think of a company in Waterloo Region that has undergone a more startling transition than North, formerly Thalmic Labs. I first visited their offices in early 2016, saw the Mayo product after signing all the NDAs and everything else. And when they launched that, I thought, this company really is inventing the future, as we like to say. Fast forward a couple of years, about 450 employees. They've launched a new innovative augmented reality product called Focals, and they're aggressively recruiting, I think, in 6 locations now. And they have experienced what I like to call the love of Waterloo Region, right? All of the partners, federal, provincial, local, have really gotten behind the team, and I remember, former Minister of Economic Development Brad Duguid in 2016 with his Mayo armband in front of the Canadian Club, 1,000 people, doing his thing, and fast forward to last week, and Ian Klugman wearing his pair of Focals at his AGM. Certainly the love that we have shown to North is palpable. I love the new name. When I think of North, I think of up, I think of positive energy, right, and growth. But anyway, we're here today to learn about that experience, and there was some big news this week. Tuesday started off, as I said to the folks here, it's kind of an interesting day. I was in Toronto, working with Toronto Global on some messaging for a not unexpected outcome regarding the Amazon bid. We knew what was happening, so we worked on some messaging. It was kind of one of those annoying days where you're managing media and sort of working on messaging. And then later in the day, Nav Bains announces the final kind of flow of $230 million to kickstart that for the Next Generation Manufacturing Canada, so that was great. And then I learned with great interest and happiness about the $24 million infusion by the federal government through the Strategic Innovation Fund, backing this exciting growth story. And I said to myself, what an awesome day. It started with Amazon, but at the end of the day, it was like Amazon schmamazon. Like we have a company that, we need to build our own Amazon, and I think that's why it's so important to have Mike here today. So Mike Galbraith, he's the CFO of North. When he joined, he brought a wealth of experience and knowledge that has been critical to guiding its growth. He joined the team in 2013 after leaving BlackBerry, where he held a variety of leadership positions over more than 10 years, including Senior VP Operations. Mike has a business degree from Wilfrid Laurier University. He's a CPA, formerly from KPMG. And outside of work, Mike practices viticulture, which is grape growing. It's kind of cool. Or he's, if he's not doing that, he's traveling the world. Please give a warm welcome to Mike Galbraith.
Thank you, Tony. Height differential there. First off, big thanks to Tony. I met Tony, 3 years ago now in Toronto, past life of his. Excuse me. And it's just phenomenal that we can bring somebody of Tony's stature into the community. His leadership is phenomenal. So I think it's a big win for our community to have him here. Also, really happy to be here in front of so many leaders and entrepreneurs. I think it's great. It's these events that really help bring our community together. Tony mentioned we're a product of the community, and it's that tie that binds us all together that I think is really, really special. I came to this community in '93 to go to school at Laurier. Followed that up to join KPMG's technical practice after graduation and through co-op. Went into BlackBerry January 2000. We were only a few hundred people then, and we had just launched this new thing called BlackBerry. So we were RIM then. So I feel very much like I'm a product of this community, and I couldn't be more proud to be one. Then 5 years ago, I took the leap and jumped into Thalmic. A little bit smaller. We were 20 people. We're now called North, and almost 500 people in 6 locations. This week, a big week for us, we launched 2 flagship retail stores for our Focals, our next generation product, which I'm wearing. So it's been a phenomenal journey, and in both locations I've really experienced what it takes to scale a business. And although it's from the tech community, I do think these things are readily applicable to many other businesses. And I think just as you go through your business, when you're really stuck with a big decision in front of you. And you find yourself, are we really going to go for it? That's when you find you're really facing a scaling problem or a scaling challenge or an opportunity. And we've all wrestled with it, and it's really great. I'm going to talk about a few of the key ingredients I've teased out from my time at BlackBerry and North. There's countless things that you need to uncover. I'm going to talk about 3. The first one is pursuing your vision with a sharp focus, and following that vision, secondly, having the conviction to stick with it. And the last is fostering a culture of innovation with your people at the center. So back to what Tony talked about in the first session, in this series was really talent, and is something we spend a ton of time on at North. Vision and focus are inextricably linked. I saw this first and foremost at RIM, where we had the determination to take on this new category, and that sense within the company at that time was palpable. Nothing like this had ever been done, let alone in Waterloo. Waterloo where at the time to many people in south of the border. But the founders had a plan. They stuck to it, and it really transformed the way the world communicates. It took an incredible amount of focus over those years to make that happen. And I'm really grateful for being a part of that. At North, the vision of our founders is also clear. We feel we're on the cusp of the next generation of computing, and we feel that next generation is wearables. But part of that, we want to make sure that technology works for us and not the other way around. So that's a key part of our founding vision. We started this journey as a really small team with this big vision and ambition. And we tried to figure out how the heck are we going to start? So we looked at, well, lots of transformation happens through figuring out how new computing is going to interact. And that was the path that led us towards creating the Myo armband. So this Myo armband was a gesture control armband that read your arm and muscle movements and allowed you to take that and control any forms of computing, flying drones, playing games, or even controlling prosthetics. At that time, over 5 years ago, everything in the wearable space was very bulky and clunky and ugly, and we really, really worked hard to solve those problems. So that singular focus, the same as we have now, is to have technology there when you need it and gone when you don't. So we love technology. We're big advocates for it, but we all know it can pull us away and drain you. And so that's what we want to try and find, that really wonderful balance here at North. So with that as our guiding star, and we've seen many take the wrong approach, we decided we wanted to create a pair of smart glasses that looked great and people could wear every day. In coming up with that concept for Focals, we spent months and months and months of time throwing out many hours of work with different types of architecture that could make this, could bring this product to life, but it didn't hit that bar for us. We needed to have a pair of glasses that could be in multiple different frame sizes, colors, and multiple prescriptions, because you can't sell a pair of glasses without some prescriptions. And we had to embed all this technology, hide it away, make sure that the user could see what was going on, but people on the other side of the glasses couldn't. So there was a huge amount of technology that we had to unearth to make that happen. What we really wanted to make sure in doing that is we knew we had a cherished place in people's vision. You can't just have something always sitting in front of people and distracting them. So we knew we were gonna have to flip the paradigm where today you're pulled into your phone. You know, you're always being asked to look at things and dive deeper into it. We've taken the absolute inverse, where we want to show you something as fast as possible and let you do something as quick as possible and then have it fade away. So we want to get you the information you need and allow you to take action on it and then have it blend away into the background. So today we can answer emails and texts, get calendar alerts, check the weather, get turn-by-turn directions, ask for an Uber, or ask Alexa anything, any one of its 100,000 skills, all very seamlessly and immediately. We had to accomplish a heck of a lot of stuff to make this possible. It was a huge amount of disciplines that we had to bring together and get focused on this vision. This was really only possible by being extremely intentional on what we were gonna do and what we were not gonna do. And it was all towards or in service to that vision. So with the Focals launch a few weeks back, I'm really pumped to report that we've been covered in over 100 publications with really incredible positive response. But you know, it's a good thing we didn't listen to the critics and the naysayers and the head fakers. And that really brings me to the next point, which is you have to have conviction in what you're chasing for your vision. I learned this first and foremost at BlackBerry. Whether it was threats of injunctions or industry experts or intimidation from massive companies, you know, there was always a challenge put in front of us that could have pulled us off the path. But one of the persistent challenges we were faced with was this 800-pound gorilla that was going to squish this upstart from Canada called Microsoft. To almost everyone, it was clear that while BlackBerry was kind of a neat thing and, you know, reasonably well done, you know, it was a matter of time that Microsoft would eventually win the day and just acquire the company. However, it was really sticking to that vision, sticking to the conviction, and really at its core was BlackBerry felt, and the founders felt, that wireless computing was really going to be quite different than the desktop. We thought just maybe that using an Excel on a handheld was not going to be the killer app, and that maybe there was someone else other than Microsoft that could handle enterprise security and mobility, that perseverance paid off, and that conviction paid off. And at North, we faced the exact same challenges. When we first went to partners to look at building this product many years ago, to every single one, they came back to us and said, "We've looked at what you're trying to do, and it's not possible." So making something that small, that transparent, in prescription eyewear is not something that can be done. And many even said, we actually don't think the physics is possible, which is a bigger problem, actually. But holding to our convictions, we reached out and pulled in this amazing talent from all around the world, from optics, chemistry, holography, and many, many other disciplines. And we proved to our key customers that it indeed was possible. We could have just let what technology was available pull us off of that, push us in another direction, and maybe even not even build the product. But we had to persevere, and we couldn't let fear, uncertainty, and doubt overcome our vision. Everything really after that needed the talent. So you can have those two building blocks, but then you need to bring in the talent. And that's really my last piece, which is you have to create and foster this culture of innovation. It's an ongoing and a very difficult process. It changes all the time. Week to week, we have as many as 20 people joining. It's very difficult to maintain that. Fostering that culture of innovation means that no matter what industry you're in, you're doing research and development. You may not know it, but you are. If you ask yourself who in our organization's asking the tough questions of how can we do something better, how can we drive more value into customers, that's really R&D. And I think every company has that. One way that we foster that is really to create an environment that employees can be who they want to be and collaborate. We cater lunch locally, lunches and dinners, and we find that's a great opportunity for people from all sorts of different groups within the company to share their experience, share what they're working on, share their family time. And we find there's sometimes these sparks that happen where people will ideate around different processes or maybe a different service, just a different way of working as that collaboration unfolds. We also have a weekly meeting with our whole team. We broadcast it so people in our San Francisco office dial in, Toronto, everybody sees it. And the whole company participates. We introduce our new team members. They explain what they're bringing into the company so we all can appreciate that. And then we have teams from across the company that will come and show what they've accomplished and what they've been working on, again, to spur that openness, collaboration, and that culture of innovation. I'm a firm believer that the culture within your company is deeply connected with where you are. So developing everything that we do, from technology to chips to product design to software to manufacturing, all right here in KW is not the typical approach. So we think it's really important, and it is very intentional that we are in KW. We made the decision not to be in Silicon Valley, And we think that's really, really important. iPhones for a long time had on the back of them, designed by Apple in California. What they didn't say is manufactured in China, of course. What we like to have or say is focals are designed in Kitchener and manufactured in Waterloo. I've heard a lot, David Johnson and Ian Klugman and many others speak of the barn raising spirit here in the region. And we get a ton of support, as Tony mentioned. We feel the love every day from Communitech, the chamber, city governments, universities, and many companies, everyone collaborating and supporting each other. And that spirit permeates the community, and it embeds itself within North. So I think where you are is inextricably linked to your culture. And I think that's a huge asset we have here. It's something I'm really proud of. So it's an accumulation of all these small and large actions that we take every day that helps create this culture where the impossible is suddenly possible. That kind of sounds like a platitude, but I think a good example of this is when asked recently, what have you built and accomplished that you're most proud of? Matthew Bailey, one of our founders, put it best. It is an incredible team that has a confidence that it can do the impossible. So just to wrap up, I want to quickly recap and leave you with some final thoughts about scaling up your business. Vision and focus is the responsibility of the leaders in your company. So for many of you, that's you, whether you know it or not. So it's important to ask yourself, does everyone know what the future that you want to bring about? Have you explained it to them? And is everything that your team is doing focused on making that a reality? The vision of your business drives you because you believe in it. That's why you're getting up in the morning every day. So hold on to that. Keep your conviction. If something is pulling you in a different direction, don't let it. Listen to your instincts, go back to first principles, and ignore the noise. With focus and conviction on your vision, you need to build a great team and foster a culture of innovation. Great people in the right environment will find a path to your company's vision. They just will. They'll figure it out some way, somehow. They'll overcome obstacles that you thought were previously impossible. And that's what we see every day at North. Thanks again for inviting me to the talk today.